Okay, let's dive right into this explainer and uncover the hidden psychological signals that actually get people hired. Look, if you've ever spent weeks, maybe even months prepping for an interview, tweaking your resume, practicing your answers in the mirror, only to get hit with total silence or one of those generic rejection emails, well, you know exactly how frustrating the job market is right now. But here's the secret we're going to unpack today. Getting hired isn't just about having the best qualifications on paper, it's deeply, deeply rooted in psychology. By the end of this explainer, you're going to see the whole hiring process in a totally different light, and you'll have the exact tools to flip the script on how you present yourself.
Picture this incredibly frustrating scenario. You've got candidate A and candidate B. Both went to top-tier schools, right? Both have the exact same amount of industry experience. Both nailed the interview questions without missing a beat. And yet, candidate A walks away with a lucrative offer, while candidate B gets that polite, automated email wishing them the best in their future endeavors.
So why does that happen? What actually separates the winner from the candidate left holding the rejection letter? If their technical skills match up perfectly and their backgrounds are practically identical, what's the invisible deciding factor here? See, most people mistakenly assume hiring is this purely logical, totally objective process, like it's a scoreboard, where points are just tallied up. Well, I'm here to tell you it absolutely is not.
The reality is hiring managers are just human beings. They're making decisions based on emotions, patterns, and gut confidence, not pure math. Think about it for a second. Recruiters and hiring managers are exhausted. They're juggling full-time jobs while desperately trying to fill an open role, filtering through hundreds of applications. They aren't calculating your worth like some complex Excel formula. They're making very human calculations using a mix of facts, gut feelings, first impressions, and most importantly, confidence.
Now, the good news here is actually incredibly empowering. You really don't need to be the smartest person in the room. You just need to guide the interviewer toward an easy, confident decision. Basically, you need to become the absolute easiest candidate to believe in. And that is exactly why today we're breaking down the 6 hidden signals that influence these decisions way before an offer is even drafted. Master these, and you stop begging for a job. Instead, you make it literally a no-brainer for them to choose you.
This brings us right to our first signal, decision clarity. Just think about how exhausting it is to process a vague claim like, I participated in various initiatives designed to improve operational effectiveness. When a tired hiring manager hears that, their brain just completely tunes out. It's corporate fluff, right? But contrast that with something like, I automated a reporting process and saved the team 10 hours every week. Boom. It's simple, it's highly specific, and it instantly paints a vivid picture of your real-world value.
Because here's the truth. If a recruiter cannot describe you in one single sentence after the interview, that confusion is going to kill your opportunity entirely. The human brain completely craves clarity. If you're spending 5 minutes rambling just to explain one simple achievement, you're literally draining the interviewer's energy. So burn this rule of thumb into your mind. Clarity creates confidence. If you don't know exactly what your core value is in a single crisp sentence, there is no way they'll figure it out either.
Which flows perfectly into our second signal. First impression momentum. You know, most folks think the interview officially starts when that first technical question gets asked. But actually, scratch that. In reality, the interview begins the absolute second they glance at your LinkedIn profile, read your very first email, or notice how you carry yourself in the waiting room. Your appearance, your energy, your preparation, all of it starts the pendulum swinging in a very specific direction.
And positive momentum influences absolutely everything. It's kind of like the opening of a great movie. It buys your patience. A strong start makes the hiring manager actively look for reasons to confirm their positive bias. Think about when you're binge-watching a new show. If those first 10 minutes are incredible, you're totally going to forgive a slow episode later on because you've already decided, hey, this show is good. In psychology, this is known as confirmation bias. If you project high energy and show you belong right out of the gate in those first 5 minutes, the interviewer is subconsciously going to spend the rest of the chat looking for evidence that their awesome first impression of you was spot on. Moving on to our third signal, professional credibility. Look, you have got to stop making empty claims and start serving up undeniable evidence. This is exactly where so many candidates shoot themselves in the foot. Everyone says things like, I'm a great problem solver, or I'm a highly motivated leader. Honest truth? Those phrases are completely worthless because literally every candidate on earth uses them. Professional credibility does not come from what you claim, it comes entirely from what you can prove. By shifting away from vague claims to data-backed results, you stop asking them to take your word for it, and you start showing them exactly why they should.
And the strongest candidates build this credibility by consistently tackling questions with a simple 3-step formula: challenge, action, result. You might know it as the CAR method. When they ask about your past experience, you concisely lay out the challenge you faced, then the specific action you took to tackle it, And finally, the measurable result of that action. It's that simple. Facts create trust, results create credibility, and as we've already established, credibility creates that massive, all-important confidence in the hiring manager's mind.
All right, now we hit our fourth signal, human connection. And listen, if you take absolutely nothing else away from this explainer, please remember this one simple truth. Hiring managers hire people. This is arguably the area that highly technical, brilliant candidates struggle with the absolute most. There is a deeply social human aspect to hiring that simply cannot be ignored.
Because at the end of the day, they are not hiring a piece of paper. They aren't hiring a perfectly curated LinkedIn profile. No matter how mind-blowing your bullet points are, a resume cannot sit in on a really tense Monday morning strategy meeting, right? A resume isn't going to help diffuse a highly stressful situation with a difficult client.
They're hiring a human being that they have to interact with every single day. That means your ability to make them feel heard and understood is just as crucial as your hard skills. When they're looking at you across the desk or, staring through the webcam, they are quietly asking themselves, can I actually tolerate working with this person for 40 hours a week? If the interaction feels cold, awkward, or combative, you instantly become a massive risk. The best candidates, they build connection. They smile. They actively listen. They don't try to be overly charming or fake. They just make the interviewer feel totally comfortable and understood.
Now, connecting as a human is great, but top candidates take it a step further by weaving every single answer into one unified professional identity. And this is signal number 5, your career narrative. Most candidates just list off a random assortment of things they've done over the past 10 years. It feels incredibly disjointed. But top-tier candidates, they tell one cohesive story. For instance, if you position yourself as the person who scales early-stage startups, then absolutely every single example, project, and metric you share during that interview needs to back up that exact identity. Because consistency builds immense trust, what do I want to be known for is arguably the most important question you should ask yourself before even stepping into the room. It's not just about asking, okay, what have I done in the past? That's just looking backward. You need to look forward and ask, what do I want my reputation to be? When interviewers hear a consistent theme over and over, they don't think you're just repeating yourself. They actually start to inherently trust and believe in your professional identity.
Which brings us to our sixth and final signal, the confident closure. Look, saying you have no questions at the end of an interview is a massive, massive mistake. Most candidates just exhale, think the hard part is over, and when the interviewer asks, do you have any questions for us, they just politely decline. This completely ruins your final impression. The ending is what lingers in their mind. You have to show curiosity and stay engaged right up to the very final second.
Instead, you should use a very specific approach to leave a strong, curious, and confident final memory. You say something like, "Thank you for your time today. The conversation has made me even more excited about the opportunity. What are the next steps in the process?" It's such a powerful yet simple script. It expresses genuine gratitude, it reinforces your enthusiasm based on the actual chat you just had, and it confidently assumes a forward trajectory by asking about next steps. It is highly professional and deeply confident. People always remember how interactions end, so you've got to ensure that final memory is a really formidable one.
So when you master these 6 signals, from decision clarity right down to that confident closure, you completely shift the power dynamic in your favor. While other candidates are out there spending months memorizing technical jargon and just crossing their fingers that their qualifications speak for themselves, you are operating on a completely different level. You're playing the psychological game. You're managing perceptions, building trust, and proving your value through undeniable evidence and genuine human connection. By understanding how hiring actually works behind the scenes, you separate yourself from the pack by simply being the easiest person to choose. The candidates who consistently get the best job offers are rarely the most technically qualified on paper. Think about that. They are simply the candidates who remove all friction from the hiring manager's decision. They eliminate confusion. They build early momentum. They provide hard proof. And they connect on a human level. As we wrap up this explainer, I'm going to leave you with this final thought to carry into your next interview. Before you go update your resume again, and before you practice another canned answer in the mirror, ask yourself, what do you actually want to be known for? Because once you figure that out, making them believe in you becomes the easiest thing in the world.